Silence is not the end, it's the hardest test. When you apply the no-contact rule, you're not closing a story, you're opening the door to a territory where your true value is measured. Here, the one who waits the longest doesn't win, nor the one who is desperate for a message. Here, the one who understands that being silent is not giving up, but showing that they don't need to beg for anything, wins. Many men believe that stopping talking is enough, but they are mistaken. The real game begins after the silence. It's in that void where she observes, analyzes, and decides whether she's going to look for you or erase you. And it's in that same void where you decide whether you're going to become a man who crumbles waiting for attention or one who grows, strengthens, and makes her silently wonder what she lost. This process is not about waiting with crossed arms. It's about building self-respect, sending a message without words. I keep moving forward with you or without you. Because when silence is backed by discipline, composure, and personal growth, it ceases to be an absence and becomes a presence that weighs more than any word. This video is to teach you how to transform that strategy into something much bigger than just waiting for a reaction. It's the beginning of a critical phase where you define whether she comes back into your life out of respect and attraction or disappears while you rise to another level. And that depends solely on how you move after being silent. 1. Assume that silence was just the beginning. It's like when a boxer retreats to the corner after the bell rings. The fight isn't over. A space has just been opened to breathe. But what he does in that interval defines whether he comes back stronger or returns defeated. The silence that arises after applying the no contact works the same way. Many believe that keeping quiet is enough, that cutting off communication is the victory. The reality is different. Silence is just the beginning of the real test. Here, your endurance, your control, and your ability to maintain a firm strategy are measured. If you fall into the temptation to break it, you ruin everything, because silence was not designed to wait. It was designed to transform you. Assuming that silence is just the beginning means that your task is not to sit and count the days until she comes back. It is to understand that this space becomes your training field. Here, you start to strengthen your discipline, to observe how she reacts without you having to lift a finger, and to redirect the energy that you used to invest in pursuing into building something bigger. Most men fail because they think that silence is a trick, a move to manipulate. And that mentality is the mistake that leaves them without respect, because if you break the contact looking for a sign, all you show is need. So, how to avoid falling into that trap? The first thing is to redefine your objective. Silence is not to test her, it's to test yourself. If you use it only as a test to see if she writes to you, you will lose. But if you understand it as a training to strengthen your character, each day of silence will give you power. The second thing is to fill the void with actions. Exercise, read, work on personal projects, change routines, learn skills. Stay so busy in your progress that contact with her ceases to be a priority. A man who lives pending on the phone destroys himself. A man who uses silence to transform himself becomes someone impossible to ignore. You must also learn to resist anxiety. Silence is uncomfortable because the ego wants quick answers. But this is where your composure speaks louder than any word. If she takes time to react and you stay calm, you project value. If you get desperate and look for excuses to break it, you lose the respect earned. Therefore, make a commitment to yourself. Do not check social networks. Do not send indirect messages. Do not seek attention disguised as chance. Zero contact is radical because it forces you to face the truth. And the truth is that she must earn a place in your life again, not the other way around. Finally, assume that silence is the beginning of a new standard. It's no longer about whether she comes back. It's about whether she comes back under your rules, with your respect intact. Never think again that silence is enough. Silence must become a declaration of strength. I don't need to beg. I don't need to convince. My life goes on. When you understand that every second of no contact is an investment in you, you will stop seeing it as a sacrifice and see it as the strategy that separates ordinary men from high-value men. 2. Analyze her movements calmly. A chess player never wins by moving first without thinking. They win by reading each piece on the board, anticipating moves, recognizing patterns, and responding with patience. After the no contact, the same thing happens. The board is silence, and the piece you must observe is her. Her reaction will be the key that shows if the silence really moves her, or if she simply continues her life as if nothing happened. The mistake many men make is to jump back into the game without having studied the position, and that rush becomes their defeat. Analyzing her movements does not mean obsessing over every action, but interpreting coolly what is happening. If she tries to approach with hints, with posts that seem designed to catch your attention, or with messages disguised as chance, what she is doing is measuring if you still respond as before. Don't rush. Don't react as if it were a lifesaver. Observe, breathe, and understand that those movements are only tests of your resistance. Here, calm is your most powerful weapon. You also have to learn to differentiate real gestures from false ones. She may send you a short message, but if there is no consistency or real intention to recover the bond behind it, then it means nothing. Analyzing calmly implies not giving immediate value to the superficial. Many men believe that a simple reaction on social networks is a sign of interest, and there they fall into the trap of giving away their power again. Avoid that mistake. Observe sustained actions, not momentary impulses. How to maintain this calm in practice? First, regulate your mind. If you constantly check your phone waiting for her message, you've already lost. A useful strategy is to set specific times to check your notifications and not be tied all day. In this way, you reduce anxiety and train self-control. Second, take mental notes of her patterns. Does she communicate only when she feels you are moving away? Does she show curiosity about your life or simply seek quick attention? This analysis is essential to not let yourself be carried away by momentary emotions. Another tip is to keep your life going while you observe. Don't make the mistake of stopping to wait. If she perceives that your whole world is frozen until she appears, the game is over. But if she notices that you are busy, growing and advancing, each of her movements will become more insecure because she will understand that she can really lose you. This psychological pressure is only achieved with calm and discipline, not with desperate reactions. Analyzing calmly also implies not projecting expectations. Don't expect every gesture to be a sign of reconciliation. Instead, look at it as data that helps you understand where you stand. You may discover that she is actually not interested in returning, and although that hurts, it will give you clarity to close a cycle and not continue trapped in false hopes. Calm is accepting any scenario, with or without her, because your value does not depend on her response. In conclusion, this point is simple to understand, but difficult to apply. It's not about watching her, it's about observing without losing your balance. Silence was the first move, but your ability to analyze without precipitation is what makes the difference between seeming a weak man and projecting a high-value man. Observe, wait, and respond only when necessary. Let your calm be the strongest signal that you no longer live reacting to her, but it is you who controls the board. 3. Rekindle attraction subtly. The fire that goes out doesn't always die. Sometimes there's a hidden ember, silent, waiting for the right moment to reignite with greater strength. That's how attraction works after the no contact. If you try to blow desperately, all you achieve is to extinguish it completely. But if you feed the ember with patience and precision, that spark becomes a flame again. Reigniting attraction doesn't mean running after it or showing anxiety. It means awakening her interest so subtly that it seems like you never tried. This is where many men go wrong. They think they need to come back with grand gestures, intense declarations, or demonstrations of love. But all that conveys is neediness. Subtlety is what truly arouses intrigue in a woman. An active life, new projects, visible changes in your attitude and environment say more than any word. She must perceive that you continue to grow without her presence, and that perception is the hardest blow that makes her question whether losing you was really a smart decision. How to achieve it in practice? First, focus on yourself. The most powerful attraction is not built with words, it's built with actions. Improve your physique, not for her, but for you. Change your style, take care of your image, develop new skills. When she sees that your current version surpasses the one she knew, attraction will naturally rekindle. Second, use absence to your advantage. You don't need to speak directly to her to remind her of your presence. A subtle post on social media, a photo showing your progress, a sign that your life is moving forward effortlessly, all of this creates impact without you having to seek her out. The key is not to overdo it. If you do it with the intention of getting her attention, it shows and authenticity disappears. Therefore, every action should stem from your discipline, not your anxiety. If you decide to train, do it because you want to grow. If you share something, do it because it reflects your life, not because you're trying to provoke her. Attraction rekindles when she perceives that your transformation is genuine, not fabricated to manipulate her. Another important point is the energy you convey when she decides to approach. If she reacts to your silence with curiosity or attempts contact, avoid responding with excessive coldness or overflowing enthusiasm. Maintain a balance. Be cordial, but not needy. Show her with your attitude that your life is rich in experiences and that she is not the center of your universe. That combination of distance and confidence is what reawakens magnetism. Also, rekindling attraction implies maintaining an air of mystery. Don't tell everything, don't show every detail of your life. Leave blanks for her to wonder what's going on with you. Mystery is a powerful magnet. And when combined with the discipline of a man who doesn't beg, it becomes a lethal weapon to reignite her interest. In summary, subtlety is the difference between someone who pursues and someone who attracts. Desperation destroys respect, but calmness and authenticity strengthen it. Remember the metaphor: don't blow hard on the ember, feed it with precision. Your personal growth, your composure, and your ability to maintain mystery will be the elements that transform that silence into a new fire. And the best part of all, you'll do it without asking for it, because a high-value man doesn't seek to be attractive, he simply is. 4. Awaken her curiosity. A closed book on the table always sparks more interest than one open, revealing all its pages. The human mind craves to uncover the hidden, that which is not easily revealed. This is also how attraction works after the no contact. If she believes she already knows you completely, she loses intrigue. But if she senses there are new layers in you that she still doesn't understand, her mind begins to spin, wondering what you're doing, how you're changing, why your silence doesn't break. That curiosity is the seed that can make her seek you out again. Awakening her curiosity doesn't mean manipulating or inventing a fake life. It means to stop being predictable. When she knows you always react the same way, that you respond quickly, that you're available, there's no mystery. But when you break that pattern and start moving differently without giving explanations, the perception changes. Curiosity is born from uncertainty, and if you learn to generate it, you regain enormous power. How to apply it in practice? First, change your routines and show it without the need to exaggerate. If you always went to the same places, try new environments. If your life seemed repetitive, incorporate different projects. A person who reinvents themselves automatically sparks interest. Second, learn to share without revealing too much. If you post on social networks, do it intelligently. Show progress, activity, energy, but never give the whole story. Leave loose ends that make her wonder who you were with, what you were doing, where you're going. Curiosity doesn't arise from the obvious, it arises from what is partially hidden. Another essential point is strategic silence. When she tries to contact you, avoid falling into the trap of responding immediately or giving long explanations. Be brief, direct, kind, but don't give her all your attention. This forces her to fill in the gaps with her imagination, and in that space, interest grows. Curiosity works because the mind hates not having clear answers, and the less you give her, the more she'll think about you. You should also take care of your body language and your energy when you meet again. Don't show anxiety or act as if you were waiting for that encounter. Project calm, confidence, and a touch of mystery. Don't talk too much. Don't try to justify your silence. Just let your attitude suggest that your life is at a solid point and that she is not the center of anything. That contrast between what she knew about you and what she now sees is what awakens the questions she can't ignore. Avoid the most common mistakes. Don't try to provoke jealousy in an obvious way. Don't invent false achievements. Don't post just to get her attention. These transparent acts destroy your credibility. Genuine curiosity arises when she perceives real changes in your life, not when she smells manipulation. Be genuine in your progress and let the results speak for themselves. Ultimately, awakening her curiosity is not so much for her as for you. Because when you become someone who is constantly evolving, who doesn't get stuck in the past, your life naturally generates interest. She may come back or not, but your growth will continue to attract people and opportunities. And that is the position of strength you should never lose. Not to be an open book that anyone can read, but a story that unfolds with each page and that only the brave have the privilege to discover. 5. Maintain emotional stability. A building can be tall, modern, and shiny, but if it doesn't have solid foundations, a tremor is enough to bring it down in seconds. This is also how a man works after no contact. You can project strength, mystery, and attraction, but if your emotional stability shatters at her first move, everything built comes crashing down. The real difference between an ordinary man and a high-value man is not in what he says or appears to be, but in his ability to stay calm in the midst of any storm. When you apply silence, the hardest part is not to stop talking, but to control what happens within you. The anxiety, the need for a sign, the temptation to break the rules for immediate relief. That is the battle that defines your character. Maintaining emotional stability means that even if she takes time to react, even if she decides to ignore you, you stand firm without crumbling inside. How to achieve this in practice? First, acknowledge your emotions instead of denying them. Silence is uncomfortable, and it's normal to feel empty or even scared. The difference is not letting these emotions direct your actions. When anxiety appears, look for channels to transform it. Exercise, work on your personal development, dedicate time to projects that challenge you. Every time your mind wants to run to her, show it a new path to you. Second, avoid the triggers that feed your instability. Don't check her social media, don't ask others about her, don't look for signs in every gesture. These habits only increase your emotional dependency and weaken you. Maintaining stability is also shielding yourself against stimuli that divert you from your center. Third, control your reaction when she decides to show up. She may do so with a short message, a hint, or even a cold attitude to test you. Here, your mission is not to give in to the impulse to respond with desperation or anger. Respond if you consider it necessary, but do so with neutrality and composure. Neither too much enthusiasm nor exaggerated indifference. Balance is what conveys that you are no longer tied to her games, that your life continues its course with or without her presence. Another key tip is to maintain solid routines. Emotional stability is not built only in moments of crisis, it is trained day by day. Wake up early, organize your time, eat well, get enough rest. These habits strengthen your mind and body, creating firm ground where emotions cannot easily drag you. Discipline is the foundation of serenity. Avoid at all costs becoming a slave to hope. Anxiously waiting for a message or a sign is letting your world depend on something external. Stability arises when you accept any outcome, even the possibility that she may not return. That acceptance is not resignation, it's power. Because a man who remains whole in the face of uncertainty is a man who cannot be manipulated. In conclusion, maintaining emotional stability is building an unbreakable foundation. It doesn't matter if she tries to provoke you, if she plays with your silence, or if she decides to disappear. You remain the same, firm, centered, and in control. That consistency is what most arouses respect and attraction because it shows that your value does not depend on anyone. In the end, a high-value man is not defined by what he achieves when everything is going well, but by the strength he maintains when everything seems to be falling apart. 6. Demand reciprocity. A bridge cannot stand if only one end supports it. Sooner or later it breaks under the weight. The same happens in a relationship. If only one gives, if only one strives, if only one maintains the bond, wear and tear is inevitable. After the no contact comes the time when you must demand reciprocity because emotional stability and self-respect are useless if you agree to return to a dynamic where all the weight falls on you. A high-value man understands that giving without receiving is not love, it's submission, and that's the line he should never cross. Demanding reciprocity does not mean imposing, manipulating, or claiming angrily. It means setting a firm standard. If she wants a place in your life, she must show it with real actions, not with empty promises or superficial gestures. This is where many fail, because they believe that in order to get her back, they must accept the minimum, and that attitude sinks them into a cycle of dependence. When you accept crumbs, you become a forgettable man, but when you set a clear standard, you become a respected person. How is this lesson applied in practice? First, observe the quality of her actions. Does she look for you only when she feels she is losing you, or does she make a constant effort to reconnect? An isolated reaction is not enough. What matters is consistency. If she really wants to come back into your life, she will show it with genuine interest, with time, with a willingness to listen to you, and with visible changes in her behavior. If there is no reciprocity, silence must be maintained, because returning without conditions is going backwards. Second, avoid justifying her lack of effort. Many men deceive themselves by saying, maybe she's busy, maybe she needs time, maybe she still doesn't know what she feels. These excuses only prolong self-deception. Reciprocity is simple. If she values your presence, she will show it. If she doesn't, there's nothing more to talk about. Third, be clear in your behavior. There is no need for speeches or warnings. Your attitude should set the standard. If she gives, you give. If she strives, you respond. But if she only seeks to receive without contributing anything, keep your distance. This consistency is what shows that your rules are not negotiable. Respect is earned when your actions are firm and constant, not when you give in to the slightest stimulus. Another important tip is not to confuse reciprocity with perfection. It's not about expecting her to do everything as you imagine, but about there being a fair balance. Small gestures of interest, real attention, willingness to grow together are signs that she understands your value. What you should never accept is indifference disguised as affection or superficial contact disguised as commitment. Demanding reciprocity is also a way to protect your energy. You can't spend your time or emotions on someone who is not willing to invest the same. If she doesn't respond with the same intensity, it means she's not aligned with you. And although that may hurt, it's better to discover it in time than to sink into an unbalanced relationship. In conclusion, this point defines the difference between a man who settles and a man who respects himself. If you decide to open the door again, let it be under the condition that she also walks towards you. Don't beg for attention or justify the lack of effort. A real bond is built with two people who give and receive in the same measure. If that balance does not exist, your duty is to stand firm, because reciprocity is not a luxury, it is the basis of any healthy relationship. 7. Reinforce your personal growth. A tree that stops growing begins to dry up from the inside, even though it still looks green on the outside. The same happens with a man who stops after the no contact. He may appear calm, he may hold the silence, but if he does not invest in his own growth, sooner or later the weakness shows. The real purpose of this strategy is not for her to come back. It is for you to move forward, to reinforce every area of your life until you become someone so solid that no one can overlook your value. The common mistake is to use the no contact as a pause to wait, instead of seeing it as an engine to evolve. A high-value man understands that every day of silence is an opportunity to strengthen himself. If before you invested energy in pursuing, now that same energy should be directed towards you. Because in the end, what most arouses attraction and respect is not the emptiness she feels, but the real change she sees when she looks at you again. How to reinforce your personal growth in practice. Start with your body. The physical is your calling card, and improving your condition, training with discipline, eating well and getting the necessary rest gives you more than a good appearance. It gives you energy, confidence, and discipline. It's not about vanity, it's about making your body the reflection of your self-control. Then, work on your mind. Read, study, learn new skills. If before your time was caught up in arguments or obsessive thoughts, now it should become an investment in knowledge. A man who grows intellectually not only improves for himself, he also becomes someone who contributes more in any environment. That mental expansion is what differentiates a man stuck in the past from one who moves forward. Don't neglect your emotions. Growing also involves healing wounds, facing fears, and working on inner stability. Meditation, writing, or even therapy are powerful tools to transform anxiety into clarity. Because a man who understands himself stops being a slave to his emotions and projects a calm that is felt even in silence. Personal growth also reflects in your environment. Improve your style, take care of your space, organize your financial life. You don't need luxuries, you need order. A structured life speaks more about you than 1,000 words. When someone sees that your world is in balance, they understand that you are not waiting for anything or anyone to move forward. A key point is to keep yourself in constant challenge. Don't seek comfort, seek challenges that make you step out of the known. Enroll in a course, travel, learn a language, change habits that used to limit you. Each challenge overcome is proof that your value does not depend on a relationship, but on your ability to evolve without stopping. Avoid the mistake of using growth only as a strategy to get her back. That path will make you lose motivation quickly. True growth must come from you, from your vision of the future and the conviction that you don't need external approval to move forward. When your improvement is genuine, others notice it, and attraction is rekindled effortlessly. But most importantly, you no longer depend on whether she comes back or not. In conclusion, reinforcing your personal growth is at the core of this whole process. It's not optional, it's the essence that turns silence into power. 8. Always act with composure. A river can cut through mountains and carve its own path without the need to shout or rush. It does so with patience and firmness, maintaining its course even when the terrain is hostile. This is the image of composure that a man should reflect after the no contact. Because what truly tests your worth is not the intensity of your words or the speed of your actions, but your ability to maintain a solid, serene and firm presence in the face of any circumstance. Composure is the balance between strength and calm. It's that attitude that communicates without speaking, that you don't lose control, that your world doesn't wobble even if she appears, disappears, or tries to provoke you. Many men lose this point because when she returns with a minimal gesture, they rush, show anxiety, or react with excessive coldness to disguise insecurity. Both extremes are destructive. How do you train this composure? First, understand that it is not a mask. It is a reflection of your discipline. Composure is built in small habits, speaking clearly without the need to shout, listening before responding, controlling the tone when emotion seeks to impose itself. If you work on these details daily, when the critical moment comes, you won't need to pretend. Composure will come out on its own because it is already part of you. Second, learn to manage your reactions to her. If she decides to approach, don't fall into the temptation to show desperation. Don't fill her with explanations about your silence, nor receive her with the exaggerated coldness of someone trying to appear tough. Act with balance. A cordial greeting, a confident response, and a calm attitude say more than any speech. Remember that she is evaluating your behavior, and composure is what will make the difference between seeming weak and projecting respect. Third, watch your body language. It's not enough with what you say. Your posture, your gestures, and your gaze communicate more than 1,000 words. A man who maintains composure doesn't avoid eye contact, doesn't cross his arms in defense, and doesn't appear restless. He transmits confidence with his presence, without the need to exaggerate. It's that kind of energy that is felt without him making an effort. Another essential aspect is not to let her behavior dictate your emotional state. She may ignore you, appear distant, or try to provoke you with ambiguous attitudes. Here, composure is your shield. If you respond with annoyance or neediness, you lose. If you maintain calm and continue with your life, you send the most powerful message. Nothing external controls me, not even you. Also, acting with composure doesn't mean being indifferent, it means being master of yourself. You can show interest if you feel it, but always from a position of balance. Don't seek approval. Don't ask for unnecessary explanations. Don't show anxiety for what you can't control. Composure consists of accepting reality as it is and responding with dignity. Ultimately, this point connects with all the others. Silence loses its strength if you break it with desperation. Analysis is useless if you react impulsively. Attraction fades if you appear anxious. Curiosity dies if you give in too quickly. Everything is held up by composure. It's the base that connects the pieces and the filter that defines if you are truly a high-value man. Understand this. Thank you for staying until the end of the video. If you watched the whole thing, comment "I am Stoic" as our secret signal to know that you're a true student of Stoicism. Don't forget to subscribe and give the video a like if you enjoyed it. See you in the next video, and remember, keep cultivating your Stoic mind.